Tao in Chinese means the way, the path. And the path, the way of nature, the way of being a person, the way you walk in your life. From the most ultimate philosophical, spiritual way to everyday life we live from day to day. The Chinese symbol for Tao means how to find your center in relationship to nature all around and follow the watercourse way as spontaneous, as naturally as possible. It's very important to understand Tao is for individual, also for everyone. To be a Taoist is confining. So often I talk about the Tao without the ism, because once you have the ism, we become a religion or cult. And the philosophy of the Tao is to not be confined to be an ism. So I often say I am a Taoist without the ist. I believe in Taoism without the ism. And sometimes we have to think about it in the context, but in living it, we need to expand, open. No more ism, no more ist. Tao is much wider. It's as simple as everyday person's life, also as open as the universal way. Follow the way of nature. Nature is so spontaneous, it's flowing. When we can live our life flowing without congestion, without stopping and frustration, then of course you become joyful, as nature feels. If we follow the way of nature, we become joyful. We become more spontaneous, more natural. Life is easier, more flowing, and that is the way we hope we can follow the way to be more joyfully, happily, spontaneously follow the way of life. Sometimes we need to be careful not to be too mental, because intellectually, mentally, it's only one dimension. We think about it. Thinking is wonderful, but don't forget, as a human being, we are feeling it. We sense it. We have a sensory perception. We have a feeling understanding. We have an intellectual, spiritual awareness. We also have something very strong we call the gut level, centered in our hara, in our dantian, in the deep, deep center of our physical, psychic power. And when we think about the center, we combine spiritual, mental, emotional, and deep in our center, the place we call bliss. If we follow this center, and we combine all the dimensions of being human, then Tao makes sense. If you only talk about the Tao intellectually, it's only one dimension. If you only feel about the Tao, you can be very emotional, too emotional. If you only find deep down, you can be too grounded, almost static, too heavy. So if you allow the movement, as in TaiJi, to combine the three basic levels of what we do, we call it higher dantian, middle dantian, and lower dantian. Spiritual, emotional, and physical. If we can keep the three dimensions flowing as one, then you understand what Tao is all about. it's important not to only think about thinking about it, the doing part. The practice is the doing. Sometimes we have used the word discipline. It's almost too serious. Discipline is you have to do something special. You have to practice Tai Chi certain time in the morning, and you have to do certain meditation, how long. But in Tao, in the Taoist concept openly, every day, every moment you practice. You learn to practice spontaneously, naturally, joyfully. And as long as you know how to do this, and you're always in the Tao, you're always aware. And it's not a discipline, it's not hard work. It's more like play. And nature is playful. Nature is always moving. This is why the discipline of Tai Chi practice is so important in studying, learning about the Tao. Because Tai Chi keeps the body, mind, and spirit flowing. And also, human body is made very dualistic. We have two hands, two legs, and we have two eyes. Sometimes we have two dualistic. We need to polarize it. We do not only have a right or the left, we bring the right and left together. We not only have an up and the down, we bring the up and down together. The yin-yang concept. In Chinese, we say yin-yang. We do not say yin and yang. When you translate yin-yang, we tend to put it in division. We have a little end between the yang and the yin. Then we separate, becomes dualistic. Yin-yang is a total concept. If you look at the yin-yang sign, the black and white is in a S curve shape. It's like infinity. You have yin in the yang, yang in the yin. Everything is combined. When you can make it holistic, then you become more whole. In your living, in your practice, you become more joyful. WuYi is a wonderful, wonderful concept in Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. It's a very simple concept, but sometimes can be misinterpreted. Wu means no or nothing, and none, non-being. Wei means doing, action. When you put WuYi, if you translate it too literally, it means not doing, which can be negative. But that's not what it means. WuYi means do not do what is already doing. Do not interfere with the natural way of doing things. So you're always doing, because life is doing. But do not only do without the space, without awareness of reflection, without the sense of the forward, back, left and right, the polar concept of doing. When you go forward, you must come back to reflect. If you look right, you must look left to feel two views. If you think up, you must feel down to create this polar balance. WuYi is to say, do not only do one way. Action must have inaction. If you do. You must stop and not do to have a chance to reflect, to enjoy what you have accomplished. That's the essence of WuYi. Tao opens for everything. Tao is not only go to extremes. Some people think Taoists only go to the mountains and hide away from the busy life. To be a true Taoist, in the sense of open Tao, you can live in the middle of the traffic, still find your quietness. You must follow the way. You must adapt, adjust. Otherwise you hide. Many times you go to a mountain temple, it's easier. You go to a zendo to meditate, it's quieter. You have a beautiful house in the country, it's easier. But if you have to work in the city, if you have to drive in traffic every day to work, you will learn to adjust. And Western life sometimes much more action. When we think of Eastern Asian life, it's quieter, more quiet. And we want to find the balance between East and West. This is my work. I live in the West. I live in America now. I practice and teach all over Europe. I come back to China. I consider myself an East-West synthesized person. I use both the Chinese philosophy. I also live with the Western way. And so how to live in the Western world, still have the Asian mentality and wisdom and philosophy apply to the way practically, wherever you live. I have students all over the world. There's at least 17, 18 nationalities, different generations come to my teaching. And I say to them, you are Swiss, you have your own way. You are British, you are American, you are Dutch, you are Finn, you are German, you are Australian, you are Australia, New Zealand, wherever you are, Canadian. You find your own center, you open to nature. Nature has no boundary. Nature does not need a passport. Nature is a universal language. When the sun rises, it's the same sun. When the sun sets, when you do TaiJi, it's the same sunset. The moon comes up, trees, sky, everything is the same. Tao fits everybody. And East and West is a matter of balance. Even in China now, we become more westernized. When I bring Western people to China, Chinese people see all the Westerners learning how to do TaiJi, do calligraphy, chant poetry. They are very surprised in the beginning. They are interested now, for young people especially, everything Western. Now they realize, we have our own culture. It's so wonderful. Western people come and learn from us. Must be something very good. We must learn about our own culture. So this balance is very good. East and West will finally meet and harmonize. The big question of life and death relating to Tao. I started my small foundation based on so many people want to share my learning. I always say I'm a perpetual student. I am not a guru or teacher. I'm a student of life. I keep on learning. If you wish to join me as learning life, Tao, please come. I will learn with you. So my foundation started, we call it the Living Tao Foundation, the Tao of living. we learn the Tao only through our living. So very important to remember Tao is not a concept only. Tao is not an ism. Tao is not a book. Tao is not something you write about only. Tao is something you live day by day, month by month, year by year, step by step. So living is Tao. Tao is about living. Without living properly in the Tao way, you do not understand Tao. So for me, to become a Taoist is to become a student of life, to follow the Tao. If you want to study Taoism, is to expand the Tao into every moment of your consciousness. You do not only practice 10, 20 minutes of TaiJi in the morning as a Taoist. You do not only do half an hour of meditation. You do not only practice a little bit calligraphy or do a little bit studying of Tao Te Ching or throw some I Ching and do some I Ching practice. Every moment is a Taoist practice. Is about living properly in a balanced, flowing way. Alan Watts and I co-authored his last book. As I collaborate with him, and he died in the middle of the book, so I finally had to finish the book with him. But we decided for the title of the book, Tao, the Water Course Way. We use the metaphor of the water, always flowing, always changing, never the same, as a metaphor for Tao. Every day the sun comes up, it's a different sunrise. Every day the sun goes down, it's a different sunset. The Greek philosopher talk about you cannot step into the same water twice. Tao. Every moment is a new beginning. It's about living from moment to moment. Therefore, Tao learning, Tao teaching, Tao practice is to remind you to live your life moment to moment in the here and now with full consciousness. And if you lose that, come back quickly. Otherwise, you get lost. When you get lost, come back to your own center, find your center, become whole again, use your practice to become a true human living person following the way of the water course of nature. Many people are concerned about what comes after life. If you use Tao in the big sense, and many of us truly believe in the living Tao, when you finish this living essence, the next awareness, perhaps it's called death. It's a new consciousness. Sometimes we say you wake up to the next awareness. Maybe death is a new waking up to a new level of consciousness. The same, why do we have life? Why suddenly I have life? Maybe it's a waking up from the last consciousness into this consciousness. From the human mind, we only know practically I have this body as a baby. Now I'm an older person. Eventually this older body will die. Everyone dies. And we see baby born. I see my children growing to be mature adults. I see my grandchildren just growing. Every generation continues. I see my children growing to be full adults. I see my great-grandchildren growing. And I see myself in them. In a way, it's how you feel about eternity, about continuity. Tao gives you a sense of continuity without worrying about stopping. Tao does not stop. When you die, you do not stop. The new consciousness that you have will continue in whatever variation you have. And be a true Taoist person in an open way, we have the comfort to know death is not the end. Death is a new beginning. We may not know what it is, but we know it will be. practice Tao, we have many artistic, creative way to help the discipline. We have the TaiJi. We use a moving meditation. That's one, which is very basic, because the human body immediately connects the spiritual, mental, emotional, psychical, and the very deep physical center. That's one wonderful learning. The others are the arts. Calligraphy, the brush calligraphy, which I practice all my life. You have the brush, you have the water, you have the ink. It's soft, you have the paper with nothing on, and you use the ink, you move, you create symbols, and you use your whole body. It's not only the writing, but it's the entire energy of the flowing energy of the writing becomes the TaiJi practice. You have poetry. You have the music of the poetry, the imagery, the metaphors, wonderful imagery of the poetry for you to feel, to think, to see in your mind's eye. And then you have the voice, you have the music to help you. So that's another very wonderful practice in Tao. Most basic TaiJi form would be the 5 moving forces. Sometimes we call the 5 elements, but truly about the moving forces of life. And we begin by collecting the qi. Just relax and gather the qi in front of us. And from this gathering, we experience the center, which we have been learning how to find. And we remember the horizon, the out and in energy. Remember the opposite of the sky and earth. By creating this horizon, horizontal, vertical line, and we begin to find our lower chakra, Dantian power, center of the body, the fire, the bliss, the passion of life we must generate in center. Once we find this energy, the form can begin. The first movement out of this is the fire. Come out of your lower chakra. You release it, it goes out, and always continue to go up. At the height of your fire, 火, clearly, easily, if you just relax, the water will come down. It's a natural transformation from fire to water. Just flows right back. A complete forward, up, and back down circle. The first pair is the fire and water circle. Now we use the hip rotation, the left and right idea, to create the next metaphor, which is the wood. Mu in Chinese. The wood metaphor is the nature growing, everything expand all around the center. The same way trees branching out, the same way flowers open from the center, all around us. After we go all around, then we realize we are in the center with all this power around us. Then we use the fourth metaphor called Jing, which is golden crystal, diamond, metal. So this crystallization energy, use this gesture by collecting the qi back down your chakras, one chakra at a time. All the power outside, we gather in, crystallize it, and come down in our center. That completes the fourth metaphor in this 5 moving forces cycle. But most important, finally, after we collect all the qi into your lower chakra, under the belt, in the belly, we take a deep, extra deep breath. And as we exhale, we release everything, empty everything out. And you can feel the body suddenly more power, more space to receive the sky and the earth and everything around us. And we can enjoy this expansion. And finally, we use the metaphor, 抱虎归山, embrace the tiger and return to the mountain top. This is the whole form of the 5 moving forces. Often we practice on both sides because we have left and right. If we use different leg footing, we will turn in a different position. I will do the other side, same form, but slightly different variations by the rotation. Same gathering, gather the qi, just find your qi right in front of you, right here in me, and then I will focus. I will use the horizontal expansion to feel the energy. Keep the shoulders loose, let the qi flow through, and I will use sky and low energy. If the first time I have the right foot in front, the second time I will have the left foot in front. Same position, same idea, sky, earth, out, in. Then redefine my dantian, lower chakra. We call this lower dantian, the gut level, below the belt, the belly level, place. And find the power, find the passion, find the bliss, and follow it. From this energy, we release the fire, the life force from center, and we let it go forward and upward until we fulfill the fire power and relax with this power, and nature will take the natural flow of water will take over, will transform downward and inward and into the roots. And once we get this connection, the energy will seep up just like a tree. The plant will grow, the tree will grow, the flower will come up, and then we rotate our hip. We use that expansion energy to branch out, to blossom, to open from the center into the wide, wide world. And we realize energy, qi, is all around us. We must use our open center to collect all the good qi, powerful qi, down into our physical, emotional, gutsy, dantian body. So this is a very simple gesture, but must be very collectively, selectively centered to find the crystalline golden energy deep inside of us, right below the belt, right here. Feel the center right here. Powerful, simple, crystallized. Now finally, the last metaphor, the tool, the earth, is so important because we need to digest, assimilate, and finally empty to begin fresh again. So from here, we usually take a deep extra breath inward. And as we exhale, we empty everything out. Clean out all the congestions. Be totally free and open and start all over. This big funnel here, the sky will come in easily, and as I relax, the earth will pump into my body easily. And we enjoy this big open circle and start all over again and use the metaphor of Bao Hu, embrace the tiger, Gui San, return to the mountaintop to finish the form. That is the 5 moving forces of TaiJi. Fire forward, up, water comes back down, wood spread around, golden crystal energy comes in, and finally, earth takes it all, empty. So we can start all over again and realize everything we have here is right in front of us. Bao Hu means embrace the tiger. All the golden opportunities, everything, the best and the worst, the most powerful, most fearful, everything is here. Danger, opportunity, right here, now. Once you can assimilate this power in you, then you have the whole dimension. Then as we descend, as we come back easily into our grounding, we know this is already our mountain top. We have come back to the best grounding, best place we want to be in our everyday life. usually called 5 elements, but more correctly, and we are talking about the 5 moving forces of nature. The forces of fire as a metaphor, water and wood and gold or metal or crystal, or finally earth. There are 5 moving forces of the metaphor of nature we learn to follow, and very different than the elements in the West. But we often call it 5 elements. But be very careful to make the distinction. It's the 5 moving forces of nature as metaphors to generate life force and how to practice Tai Chi. And for instance, fire. Fire is the fire of life, your passion that generates, makes you fired up, passionate. It's not about you look like fire, a flame, but it's how you feel, how your whole energy becomes the metaphor of the fire, helps you to feel fire. Feel you are fire. To say, I feel like fire is not correct, which is a simile. And you try to look like a flame. That's not the metaphor. The metaphor is, I'm all fired up. My life is fired up. I am fire. Water is the same way. And you feel totally water. You will say, I am water, not I am looking, feeling, flowing. There's only one dimension, but I am water. The whole essence of water is me. So the force will take over. I am wood, I am tree, I am flower, I am nature. And you become nature. You are not imitating a leaf or a tree or a flower. You are flower. I become the tree. I am a tree branching out. I am a flower blossoming open. And I am gold, diamond, crystal. I have congealed, crystallized, become totally centered, and simplified, become very pure and crystal. I am the diamond. I am golden. Also, I am earth. I become part of the earth. I come out of the earth, I go back to earth. Earth is my mother. I belong to my mother. I am born from my mother. I will return to my mother. I am earth. This is the true meaning of the 5 moving forces. Sometimes we call it 5 elements because of translation. But remember, Hua is a total concept we embody. Sui, we embody the essence of water. We are nature. We are tree. We are flower. We are the metaphor of the tree. We become the tree. And we are crystal, diamond, golden. And I am earth. Earth is me. I come from the earth. I go back to the earth. I am earth. That is the meaning of the 5 moving forces. 5 wonderful metaphors to learn to practice Tai Chi. In Tai Chi movement, for instance, this gesture as we open doors, spread our wings, you discover new horizons, you enter deeper consciousness, you continue to open the gateway to mystery. And mystery within mystery, you discover new essence. And you bring the essence out from what you have into life. The gesture, for instance, this one, you bring the power out to play creatively with life. You also know how to always draw resource from the essence. You continue to bring the Tai Chi force, living force out of life and use it in the creative way. And you continue to embellish, evolve, discover new ways finally. It is one big gesture means that finally you fly high. And when you fly high, you must know how to have happy landing. Otherwise, you may crash. You fly too high, just like Icarus, you get burned by the sun, you plunge into the sea. But you need to know how high you can go, when to come down. safe journey to go high, go far, but always come home, return to the beginning, to know the place again for the first time in a new way. So in the TaiJi closing, we always come back to the beginning and return to the mother source and be reborn over and over again, find new ways to be open, to be receptive, to be surprised, to have a sense of wonderment and say, wow, 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 I can begin all over again, to start fresh, just like every morning the sun rises with new freshness. Every spring a new grass comes, new flower opens. They don't say, oh, I've been here last spring. They discover it for the first time. Always fresh, always new. In TaiJi practice too, every gesture is new and refreshed. It's always a journey to discover new things. We go round and round, we go far, we learn things, we come back. We reach high, we go high, but we have to descend, we have to come down, we have to have happy landing. We learn to go again and again. Wonderful line from the poet T.S. Eliot described this so beautifully. And these 4 lines from his 4 quartets near the end. We shall never cease from exploration, and at the end of our exploring will be to come back to the same place, but know the place for the first time. Yeah. So we're always returning, but we always find new ways to discover the new beginning. We are never bored. Every morning is a new morning, every spring is a new spring, every gesture is a new discovery. We never repeat TaiJi movements. Every time I open my arms, I have a wider horizon opening to a bigger sky. Every time I open my chest, I say Kai Xing. My heart opens, my mind opens. I have a new feeling of the world out there. I have a new sense of life. And I bring it all in. I will change myself internally. I will bring this change in me to create new fire of life and to start my 5 moving forces flowing again. Fire, water, growth, change, open, collecting back, crystallize, and finally, over and over again, I return to the Mother Earth. And I will be reborn just like the grass and flowers every spring, fresh and new, and start my life day by day, moment by moment, over and over again, and be very grateful and happy to know I finally gaining a little wisdom how to practice in my life. Once you understand, the metaphor becomes part of you. You evolve, progress, and change, becoming through the metaphors of these wonderful 5 moving forces, you become a cultivated, forceful, chi-full human being. Then you are ready to take the journey as the hero. The heroic journey is a universal concept. Once we live our life properly, we are on the journey as a heroic person. So hero's journey is very much a part of the TaiJi practice. When we begin the TaiJi practice, we cultivate ourselves, we understand our 5 moving forces, we are ready to embark into our journey of life as a hero, as a powerful, creative human being. And then we begin to use our energy, we create our energy, become so completely embodied, and we open doors, we take the step, and we enter into life. Sometimes we call it the dark forest. we find light in the forest. We find wonderful things as we discover life, step by step. Open door, up the door. Lao Tzu called this the mystery, the gateway of mystery, and gateway open, continue to open to all mysteries. That's the TaiJi movement. Ta-da! Wow! New mystery. Open another door, another yet more open mystery, and continue. You can go in deeper and deeper forever. You continue to discover new horizon, new things. Chinese brush calligraphy is unique. It's part of our curriculum in Lanting. It's my teaching. Since my childhood, I learned to use the brush. The idea of the bamboo, hollow bamboo, and the brush and the ink is so flowing. And you can really feel the movement of your wrist, of your whole body. Every time you make a stroke, your whole body opens. If I make a horizontal stroke, my chest opens, my energy opens. If I make a vertical stroke, I find my center. So every time I move, I'm relating to my body movement. That's why calligraphy is so important as a discipline of TaiJi practice. Okay, Zhongshen will explain. He will begin with the Tao in a very traditional way, stroke by stroke. That's the Tao. Yeah. Stroke by stroke. And then he will eventually show the different style, different variation of the calligraphy. When we teach the calligraphy, we first show every stroke. This is the way we write Tao. And then to show the Tao in very, very simple. One stroke at a time. And what he does, he will show the different style. This is from Zhuang style. And in old ways, it's carved on bamboo and rocks, on bones. Yeah, it's not by brush. But we follow the style of the Zhuang. It's also done in a different show. It's the same symbol, but in a different style. And he will to show us another variation. Now this is called the cursive. Aha. Li Su. And there's another style. Yeah. Very nice. And it shows the calligraphy of different styles as far as the symbol is concerned, but later we know the brush is evolved to use the water to flow. 还有一个
真草立桩都有。
好，读到了。好，我再加一个好了。I will add one. Notice how he does his cursive here, but each individual calligrapher has a different style. So mine will be slightly different. Notice this one. And my Tao will look like this. It's similar but different. And in fact, this is the logo for Living Tao Foundation. And we are pretty similar, but the way each calligraphy follows it. But all five are Tao. Chinese symbol is wonderful because, for instance, Tao, you have this stroke and this stroke to bring the energy together. You open to the sky, you bring the energy into your body. Literally, I'm doing the Tao stroke by stroke. And then you have this one stroke, collect every energy, and you move the energy around, and you flow with the water causeway. And this is the way the symbol is constructed. But if you look at this here, and then you have variations, you create a different way of connecting. You still have the center of the body, you still have the moving force. And now this two style here from Zhongsheng's and mine shows one brush stroke. You begin immediately, you flow right through. So as if into Tai Chi, you bring the energy down, you continue with energy flow, and then finally you move through. And sometimes we do Tai Chi calligraphy very clearly, one stroke at a time, and one stroke at a time to find the energy center, like a Tai Chi practice, down the chakras. And you collect the chi, and you move the chi, make it flowy, and then you flow. That is the way Tao is symbolized. And as you practice more, sometimes you become much more centered. You may do it more contained, much more square perhaps, to find much more centered energy, perhaps more centered feeling, and then contain the power and allow the chi to flow. Other times we just use it flowing altogether. Okay, now we want to use another sheet of paper, maybe show different freedom of style to show you the calligraphy. We will get a little more paper.
我这一幅写大壮，写君子以厚德载物。
That's another style called 大壮, and Zhongsheng will use another classic symbol to do it. 好，我来帮你拿纸。再过一点，好，就这样。And this particular style is much more used on engraving, like on bronze, like pottery, or something much more ritualistic. And it's following the old way before the brush was even invented. But we used brush style to create this very clear style. This means 君子, superior human being, the cultivated person, 君子, 以 follow. Yeah. It's a very clear style. 后
墨汁完了，
差不多了。And this style is more of a architecturally creating symbolic shape. It's almost like architectural construction. Use different strokes to create that. The cultivated person follows, uses his virtue substantially to greet other people, to treat others. This is the word for 德 he's creating. As in Tao De Jing is the 德, the virtue of power.
没有墨。
再来一个，就还几个字，就这样。以厚德，以厚德什么？债务。To carry life, to carry things, and as a cultivated human being, we use a very strong, powerful virtue in order to carry things, which could be life, career, or human beings. 君子以厚德载物，这是孔子，是不是？
易经里面。
易经里面的，对。This is a line from 易经, from the Book of Change, and later from the Confucian scholars. They study the Taoist symbols, and this is the line we use. 君子以厚德载物。 And usually after a calligrapher write it, you will write the time and the calligrapher will sign it. Now also he will write it in the regular writing to explain the old writing. Yeah. This comes from, those 5 symbols comes from the I Ching, I Ching, the Book of Change, Transformation. Wonderful. Zhongsen is our teacher with calligraphy, poetry, and painting. And his style is fantastic also. He's a microcarver, one of the finest, most celebrated microcarver who can write the classics in miniature, microscopically. And usually after you do this, you put the date and the time and sign the author and what it is. This is the time, midsummer, and he writes here, at WuYi mountain. Now, after Zhongsen shared, I will share some of mine. I like the cursive style, which I will quote the 4 symbols from the Tao Te Ching, which means Tao follows nature. We have a wonderful line that says, human beings follow the earth, earth follows the sky, sky follows the Tao, but Tao follows nature. This is the word Tao. This is to follow. And this Chinese word for zhi. And then zhi. Those are the 4. Tao follows the way of nature. Tao, Fa, Zhi Ran. 4 symbols from the Tao Te Ching. So this is my play today, just with a not so nice brush, a little bit ink. So it's a sample of how we teach calligraphy. We show the spontaneity of the dance. You also see in my calligraphy is more about movement in the TaiJi dance. The calligraphy is a TaiJi dance. Even though you have the meaning, but you also have the dance. 好极了，好极了，终身有个样子了。
这也不太
谢谢终身，
我
谢谢终身 ，Thank you，终身。
大家一起
Yeah，
一样。
好了，好了，好了，一走让我这个造化自然。
谢谢归道啊，
谢谢归道。Zhongsen will also demonstrate some of his painting technique, and which means is use water and ink to create a background. And just roughly, I ask him to paint something that he does so quickly, so easily. You can notice it's the same calligraphy technique, but you can create something very nicely. A few strokes. This is the lotus leaves. And some stem. And just by black and white different gradations, you can show calligraphy and painting are the same art. And once you have the calligrapher's brush technique, and you can paint. Very simply, just by a few simple strokes, gradation of the water. And what he's showing us now is some lotus leaves on the lotus pond. And different stems. Just by some water to create a gradation. Notice how swiftly the lotus flowers halfway open shrimps. Notice just a few strokes and come alive. You just black and white brush. And different size, how you pressure the brush down. And thick and thin, dark and light, create this wonderful, joyful painting. And so much of Chinese paintings are based on nature. Nature, landscape, and also things that we can touch, we can feel in our lives. And it's an enjoyment. It's a true enjoyment, painting. It's a cultivation of the artist. 很好，这三条线好有动态啊 ，lots of movement. Yeah. You can suggest empty space. Also suggest the water lily, the lily pad, the sweet shrimp. Pansy. Haha, crab. What fun. Oh, the creatures in the pond. Huh? Just a few strokes, a simple brush can create all the nature, the beauty, and so much enjoyment. 好极了，好，差不多可以落一个框在那边。Now he's gonna use the calligraphy, talk about clear, Qingyun, clear rhythm, the pure water's rhythm, and the creature in the water create the rhythm of the water. So the living creatures in the water gives the rhythm, and he signed his name, Zhongshen, painted this. Wonderful. Little final touch.
妩媚。
妩媚，很有趣，wonderful. 谢谢周生，wonderful teacher 陈周生 ，one of his many arts, painting, calligraphy， 很好 ，good。唱妻妾，对长亭晚。陆羽初谢，都门帐饮无绪。留恋处，兰舟吹发。执手相看，泪眼竟无语一念。念去去，千里烟波。暮霭沉沉楚天阔。多情自古伤离别，更那看冷落清秋见。今宵酒醒何处？杨柳岸，晓风长月。此去经年，应是良辰好景虚设。纵有千种风情，更与何人？太好了！Han Chan Chi Che. The first line of this beautiful poem by Song Dynasty poet Liu Yong, 11th century. We're here at his memorial. This is his tombstone. This is his statue. This is a live, living cicada right here next to his beautiful poem, starting with the wintry cicada is crying sadly. Han Chan Chi Che. And then this is a beautiful poem about parting is so difficult with his most favorite courtesan, the love of his life. It's a famous love poem. All Chinese know so well. Around the memorial, we will have the wonderful statue from the poem. The two of them holding hands, cannot speak, but start to cry. And this is the beautiful memorial for the Song Dynasty poet Liu Yong, 11th century AD, one of the most beloved Chinese poet. And this is the cicada. This is the cicada. He made this beautiful love poem, starting. Han Chan Chi Che, 对长亭晚。都门帐饮无绪，留恋处，兰舟吹发。What a poem! 千里烟波，暮霭沉沉，楚天阔。多情自古生离别，更那堪冷落清秋节。今宵酒醒何处？杨柳岸，晓风长月。此去经年，应是良辰好景虚设。便中有千芳风情，更与何人说呀？ What a poem! What a beautiful poem! 啊！ Here they are, the two lovers, cannot part, and holding hands, feeling so sad, tears and throat is choking. Here we are, the boat is ready to leave. And here we are, and then the willow branch, the fading moon, all these sentiment in the poetry is now in the statue. And Liu Yong and his love of his life, the famous courtesan, and they are saying goodbye to each other and make this beautiful poem. And this is part of the Lanting Institute. We work on poetry, we work on calligraphy, classics, and philosophy. Also use this beautiful space to get in touch with the culture, art of this place throughout the centuries and centuries. And in the morning, we use this beautiful place under the wonderful grove of bamboos next to the ancient temples. We practice Tai Chi, Qigong, and we take time to study the philosophy. And then we recite poetry of Liu Yong, Su Dongbo. And when we ride on the Nine-Band River, we recite and learn the poetry from Zhu Xi, the Neo-Confucianist, wonderful philosopher who taught in this area for many, many years. So this is the beauty of Lanting Institute that I founded in 1984. In 85 officially accepted, supported by the government and local people. Now we are coming back. And from 95, 96, 97, in front of the gate by the river, we have a stone to memorize. We memorize our planting trees and everything. So here's our home in China, Lanting Institute at WuYi Mountain.来一点音乐配配太极的舞，又是琵琶，又是二胡，又是笛子，然后我们可以练太极，好极了，谢谢，真好，哈哈 ，wonderful， 谢谢周生，好极了，哈哈，真好。好极了，好，棒，很好，中山来点好，来点好。录影这个感恩，棒棒当当。我在有个跳一个舞。